to their seats, that would be great. I don't have to tell you what a great guy Dan is, how much he cares for this community, for all of the neighbors around here, especially all of his family, and that's why he picked tonight, so it could, correlate with the family reunion that's happening. He's going to tell you all his stories, and then he's got songs that he's going to sing. It's going to be a really interesting night. I think you're going to find it, I have found it fascinating, especially the stories. This evening's songs, there are some of them that are sing-along songs. And then there are some that aren't. And that's the nice way to put it, okay? And I'm sure many of them you'll know all the words to, and that's great. I'll gesture when it's a sing-along, okay? And when it's not. So anyway, here we have our native son, and I'm going to welcome him to the stage at the Kingsbridge Center. Danny Ray Dalton.
In Dublin, fair city, where the girls are so pretty, I first set my eyes on sweet Molly Malone. She wheeled a wheelbarrow down streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, sing. Alive, alive, oh, ho, alive, alive, oh, ho, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. She was a fishmonger, and sure 'twas no wonder, for so was her father and mother afore. They both wheeled their barrows through streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, ho, alive, alive, oh, ho, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. She died of a fever, and no one could save her, and that was the end of sweet Molly Malone. But her ghost wheels her barrow down streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, oh, alive, alive, oh, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Thank you, thank you. You know, it's so good in my heart to see so many out this evening to celebrate with me our Irish roots. You know, the Irish came over 180 years ago, and they pioneered in this land. And I'm going to tell you more about that in a few minutes. But to begin the concert, I think I have to, well, it's hard for me, but it was a big misunderstanding, and I have a confession to make. In the good old days, I'd be making it back there in little private cubicles, and it might work. But now, look, I got to make it publicly, and it's embarrassing for me. You see, this night, which Mary Ann said was planned for about over a year ago, but it changed radically when I got the news about the plaster. Did you hear about the plaster in the Belfry? Now this is a big operation, a big time thing, but you know, not in times of work, but in times of what it's going to cost. Did you know that? $100,000. Can you imagine that? This could break us, folks, if I tell you, $100,000. And I got in my head, in one of my sillier moments, I guess I thought, maybe the devil made me do it. I don't know, but I thought, well, let's get the Irish back. I said, they probably didn't spend $100,000 just to build this beautiful building. But I said, if we could get them back here, and think we could help pay for it, you see. And then I thought, well, wait a minute, will they pay for it, you see? Because I know the Irish, they tend to be a bit careful with their money. You know what I mean? If they're sober. But so I came up with a scheme, and I'm sorry I did this whenever. I apologize, this is all mistakes on my part, but I said, but if we can get him drunk, liquor him up, the money would just flow out like water and say we'll get it. So this is, I know I was a bit delusional. In fact, I think the devil made me do it. Anyway, that was my plan until all of a sudden, about a week ago, I got visited. I was having a dream I got visited by an angel. You may have heard of her. They call her Mary Ann. Anyway, and she said to me, Dan, are you ready for the concert? I said, oh yeah, Mary Ann, I'm all set for it, whatever. And she said, well, Dan, now what are you going to do? Well, I changed it a little, I said, Mary Ann. You know, it's not going to be really the same. And she says, what's going to be different? I said, well, it's going to run 2 hours, but I said, there's a bar there. Am I right? She says, oh yeah, there's a bar. Well, that's good. I said, that's great. We're going to need a bar. Because, you see, I'm going to have 15 minutes start up here. I'll tell a couple of stories, sing a few songs, and then we'll have an hour and a half of intermission. That's when you drink up. Open the bar. I want the bars moved up here, too. There should be 3 bars in the room here. And I want the music to go, too, during intermission. So say by then, you know, they'll be dancing in the hallway and down to the church here that we will. You'll see the jigs and the reels, the square dances, like the old times. I say, oh, the Irish, oh, what a party we'd have, you see. But Mary Ann says to me, Dan, that all sounds good, Dan, but it won't work. You got to stop. And I said, so what will I do? She says, well, you got to stop it. These are the people you love, Dan. Your relatives are going to be here, all your neighbors, your friends. You can't do it to them, Dan. That's just not right. Oh, I said, what do I do? Because, well, you'll have to sing. I tell some more stories. And shoot. I said, what do I do? So, you see, it was such a good deal because I thought, in my own delusional mind, I thought if we could get the Irish plastered, they'd pay for the plaster. Did that make sense to you? It all made so much sense to me, but no, Mary Ann put a stop to it like that. She said, Dan, you can't. Then the reality is, I'm sad to say that she was right, thank God. So I got a big forgiveness, and I will have to go on. But I did have one other little thing. She said to me, first of all, she says, well, Dan, if they get too much drinking, there'll be trouble. And I said, Mary Ann, I got that covered. You see, what I have covered is I put together, what you call it, some ordinances. I had the town council do this, by the way. And I arranged for it, and you probably don't know this, but you won't see them, they're just coming out to relax. But I got a paddy wagon outside there with 4 horses on it. And if there's any trouble in 3 hours, you'll find yourself in the Godley's clink, in the jail. That's where you're going. So when I said, well, what? So Mary Ann pushed me a little bit and said, what is it? Well, I said, sir, here's the ordinance. I said, he'll tell you what they are. I think they'll work, you see. Any swearing or disorderly behavior, they get 1 night in the clink in Godbridge. Okay. And the second one, if there's any fighting going on in here tonight, folks, they'll get 1 week in the Godbridge jail. And I got, the help out here to get me. John S., is he there? He's going to cuff him, he said, and take him out and land him in there. And so, and Sean Dalton's going to drive the horses, apparently. We got him covered. This gets more severe. Listen to me. I thought, for throwing rotten tomatoes at the entertainer, 1 month in the Godrich jail, believe it or not, and we're going to make sure that works, you see. And my final one, and one of the best probably of all that's going to keep the safety, it's all safety here, any verbally or physical attacking the entertainer, death by gallows. There'll be no getting back from that, you see, folks, you're done. So Mary Ann said, well, that's all right now, but you can't do it. You can't do it. And she's right, because I can't do it. I'm sorry. And I know that the plaster, will get paid for. She said sooner or later they'll do it by putting on concerts like this and squeezing a few pennies out of people. But what she did make a point to me, and I'm going to try to tell you this. This is a song that my dad sang on his 80th birthday, down in Fergus it was. And he sang it about his home community, and I'd like to share it with you. that song with you this evening. And I think it'll tell you a little bit how I feel about Kingsbridge. I love those dear hearts and gentle people who live in my hometown, because those dear hearts and gentle people will never, never let you down. They read the good book from Friday till Monday. That's how their weekend goes. I've got a dream house I'll build there one day, with picket fence and rambling rose. I feel so welcome each time that I return, that my happy heart keeps laughing like a clown. I love those dear hearts and gentle people who live and love in my hometown. Now there's a place I'd like to go, and it's Kingsbridge, don't you know, where the friendly neighbors smile and say hello. It's a pleasure and a charm to meander on the farm. That's why I want the whole wide world to know. I love those, sing with me, I love those dear hearts and gentle people who live in my hometown, because those dear hearts and gentle people will never, never let you down. I love you, Kingsbridge. So, thank you. There's another song that's related. It's a Scottish song, but I adapted it to the land here in Kingsbridge. No more, not about mountains and glens. I didn't see any mountains around. Maybe Glens Hill, that's about it. But this song here was written in Scotland, but I think I've changed the words. I think it fits here. Let me see how it goes. For these are my meadows, and this is my shore. The days of my childhood shall know me once more. No land ever claimed me, though far I did roam. For these are my meadows, and I'm coming home. For fame and for fortune I travel this earth. Now I'm returning to the land of my birth. I bring back my treasures, but only to find they're less than the pleasures that I left behind. For these are my meadows, and this is my shore. The days of my childhood shall know me once more. No land ever claimed me, though far I did roam. For these are my meadows, and I'm coming home. The spring by the road sings at my passing by. The lark overhead wings a welcoming cry. The lake where the crow flies once more I shall see, for it's here that my heart lies. It's here I must be. For these are my meadows, and this is my shore. The dreams of my childhood shall soul me once more. No land ever claimed me, though far I did roam. For these are my meadows, and I have come home. Thank you. Thank you. You know, it's kind of odd to sing a cappella, and I want to maybe explain that to you a little bit, why I sing a cappella. And it's embarrassing, but the reason I do, as you see, is because I can't follow a tune. If I played with a musician, they follow the tune, you see. I do actually follow a tune, but not the tune the piece was written in, you see. So, but anyway, and I've never really trained myself to do that. But I think I could go back a little bit right now, I think, to our ancestors again, which I mentioned 180 years ago, and I'd like to think back to those times and how hard and the kind of hardship that they presented for our forefathers, those that came from Ireland. Put up your hand, those that have ancestors that came from Ireland. Thank you. So you see, and that's what we're here to celebrate, some of their accomplishments, I guess, if you want, what they did. But the hardship that they had to overcome was almost unbearable. You see, the land was all treed at the time. They came from a climate that wasn't so severe in the winter. They had to build shelters, and they had to, find food, actually, for themselves, because they had to grow crops, and you got a piece of potatoes to grow some crops. So this was unbearably difficult for them, I'm sure you could imagine. But I want you all to think about how they felt in their hearts, these Irish. They longed for the loved ones that they left behind them, for their sweethearts, their family, their friends behind them in Ireland. And we have some immigrants here, some of them first generation immigrants too, possibly some, because, when the Dutch came over, they would feel that as well. It's terrible pain and suffering. But the Irish adapted they made songs up that I think the songs brought relief to their sorrow. And I'd like to share a couple of those songs with you this evening. This one here is one particular my father sang. And I thought both of these too. But this one's called The Tumble Down Shack in Athlone. And I want you to think about it and how longing and hurtful, painful this was for the Irish. I'm a long way from home, and my thoughts ever roam to old Erin far over the sea. For my heart it is there, where the skies are so fair, and old Ireland is calling for me. Oh, I want to go back to that tumble-down shack, where the wild roses bloom round the door, just to pillow my head in that old tumble bed, just to see my old mother once more. There's a bright gleaming light guiding me home tonight, down that long road of white cobblestone, down that road that leads back to that tumble-down shack, to that tumble-down shack in Athlone. There are eyes that are sad as they watch for a lad in that old-fashioned town of Athlone. And I pray for the day when I'm sailing away to old Ireland, my mother, my own. Oh, I want to go back to that tumble-down shack where the wild roses bloom round the door, just to pillow my head in that old tumble bed, just to see my dear mother once more. There's a bright gleaming light guiding me home tonight, down that long road of white cobblestone, down that road that leads back to that tumble-down shack, to that tumble-down shack in Athlone. Thank you very much. Are you going to let me stay for another song or two? Thank you. Okay. Another one, and this is another one of heartbreak again from our early immigrants. I think they kind of capture the mood of what the immigrants felt when they came over here. And this is about a young fella that left his loved one behind and is yearning to go back to Ireland. It's called Where the River
Shannon flows. These were songs that I suppose you recall, if you were part of my generation, that we grew up with when we were kids in Kingsbridge here. There's a pretty spot in Ireland I'll always claim for my land, where the fairies and the blarney will never, never die. It's the land of the shillelagh, and my heart goes back there daily to the girl I left behind me when we kissed and said goodbye. Where the dear old Shannon's flowing, where the three-leaf shamrock grows, where my heart is, I am going to my little Irish rose. And the moment that I meet her, with a hug and kiss I'll greet her, for there's not a calling sweeter where the river Shannon flows. Sure, no letter I'll be mailing, for soon I will be sailing, and I'll bless the ship that takes me to my dear old Erin shore. There I'll settle down forever, I'll leave the old sod never, and I'll whisper to my sweetheart, come and take my name as yours. Where the dear old Shannon flowing, where the three-leaf shamrock grows, where my heart is, I am going to my little Irish rose. And the moment that I meet her, with a hug and kiss I'll greet her, for there's not a calling sweeter where the river Shannon flows. Thank you. Back in Ireland, things were not good. I don't know if our immigrant forefathers knew it or not, but I suspect they did with letters or whatever. There was what they called the potato famine, hitting around 1846 to 1849, I believe, and it just devastated the whole country. 1 million of them starved to death. Another million, they immigrated. And the rest of them that were left behind had to fight for every scrap of food they could get to survive. It was a horrible, horrible time, a travesty. But I won't go into the politics of it, but there was probably food there, but they didn't get it for sure. But our forefathers possibly knew that. And what they did know and realize, there was no home to go back to, not at that time. So their longing and all that was for not, how could they get, there's no home in Ireland for them. There's one song that I think expresses the sorrow of that time in Ireland better than any other that I know of. Besides, it's the only song I can sing. Anyway, it's I think it tells the story well. And if you bear with me, it's not a happy song, but I think it's important to say. By a lonely prison wall, I heard a young girl calling, Michael, they have taken you away, for you stole true leaven's corn, so the young might see the morn. Now a prison ship lies waiting in the bay. Low lie the fields of Athenry, where once we watched the small free birds fly. Our love was on the wing, we had dreams and songs to sing. It's so lonely round the fields of Athenry. By a lonely prison wall, I heard a young man calling. Nothing matters, Mary, when you're free. Against the famine and the crown, I rebelled, they cut me down. Now you must raise our child with dignity. Low lie the fields of Athenry, where once we watched the small free birds fly. Our love was on the wing, we had dreams and songs to sing. It's so lonely round the fields of Athenry. By a lonely harbor wall, she watched the last star falling. And as the prison ship sailed out against the sky, sure she'd work and hope and pray for her love in Botany Bay. It's so lonely round the fields of Athenry. Low lie the fields of Athenry, where once we watched the small free birds fly. Our love was on the wing, we had dreams and songs to sing. It's so lonely round the fields of Athenry. It's so lonely round the fields of Athenry. Thank you. Thank you. Damn, you're a good audience. You keep that up. Give me a little encouragement. I appreciate it. What happened to those difficult times? Well, I can tell you, you know that now probably, if you know anything about the history. The Irish survived. Those that lived survived, I'm saying. And here on the new land and over there, because they had a tremendous faith, a faith that could overpower all difficulties. And to help them out a bit, they also had a sense of humor. And so I think some of the songs that I'm going to share with you now are ones that you can sing along with me. Probably sing along just with the chorus of this one, but I'd want you to sing it. It's called When Irish Eyes Are Smiling, and I think I wanted to have the strength and the resolve to keep a smile on their faces. Okay. Here's how it goes. There's a tear in your eye, and I'm wondering why, for it never should be there at all. With such power of her smile, sure a stone would beguile, and never a teardrop should fall. With your sweet lilting laughter, like some fairy song, and your eyes sparkling bright as can be, you should laugh all the while, and at other times smile. So now smile a smile for me. Everybody now. When Irish eyes are smiling, sure it's like a morning spring. In the lilt of Irish laughter, you can hear the angels sing. When Irish hearts are happy, all the world seems bright and gay. But when Irish eyes are smiling, sure they steal your heart away. Thank you. You know, the Irish had a sense of humor, and I'll tell you a few stories if I can think of them for now. But one of them is, There's proof. Apparently the Irish, and you know the Irish, because I got to tell you the truth right off the bat. I should have said this, that I happened to be in Ireland, and as you might expect, I kissed the Blarney Stone. So that means don't believe a word that comes out of my mouth. But anyway, but I do like to tell stories. But anyway, apparently, and this is apparently true, that the Irish have proof that Jesus Christ was an Irishman. You may not know that, but apparently it's so. And so they say they got 3 arguments that can prove it without a doubt. And the first argument, number 1, was that he didn't leave home till he was 30. And the second argument, which is as good as strong, is that he liked to go out drinking with the boys. And thirdly, and the final one to cap it all off, is that his mother thought he could walk on water. You see, he must have been Irish, you got to admit it. Yeah. I'm going to sing another song. It's an Irish kind of, I guess I would put a better word on it, a bit of a drinking song, because as you may know or may have not known, whatever, but the Irish like the odd little snip. And this one is telling it. It's a song that I'd like you to sing along with too. Okay, see if I can get it. I've been a wild rover for many a year, and I spent all me money on whiskey and beer. But now I'm returning with gold in great store, and I never will play the wild rover no more. And it's no, nay, never. No, nay, never, no more will I play the wild rover. No, never, no more. Thank you. I went into an alehouse I used to frequent, and I told the landlady me money was spent. I asked her for credit, she answered me nay. Says, a customer as yours I can have any day. And it's no, nay, never. No, nay, never, no more will I play the wild rover. No, never, no more. I brought from me pocket 10 sovereigns bright, and the landlady's eyes lit up with delight. She said I'd have whiskey and wine of the best, for the words that I told her were only in jest. And it's no, nay, never. No, nay, never, no more will I play the wild rover. No, never, no more. I'll go home to my parents, confess what I've done, and I'll ask them to pardon their prodigal son. And when they caress me as oft times before, I never will play the wild rover no more. And it's no, nay, never. No, nay, never, no more will I play the wild rover. No, never, no more. Thank you, thank you. You're with me, I think. This one here is a kind of a unique song that, if you listen to the words, it was made popular by, it's called Galway Bay, by the way. It was made popular by Bing Crosby back in the 50s. You may remember if anybody was back in the 50s. Anyway. And it became quite popular all around the globe, I think, North America here, Europe. But there's something about it I want you to listen closely to. And there's some gender issues in here that I don't think work today, but I want you to hear it, okay? Just pay attention as I sing it. If you ever go across the sea to Ireland, then maybe at the closing of your day, you will sit and watch the moon rise over Clodagh and see the sun go down on Galway Bay. Just to hear again the ripple of the trout stream, the women in the meadows making hay, and to sit beside a turf fire in the cabin and watch the barefoot gossoons at their play. Did you hear what I said? Who's doing the work? Like, I can wear them in. Are they sitting in a cabin, watch by fire? Or are they watching the sunset go down in Galway Bay? And this is a mystery, I have to say. This is funny. But anyway, it was popular. Let's continue and see if it tells us any more. For the breeze is blowing o'er the seas from Ireland, are perfumed by the heather as they blow, and the women in the uplands digging prairies. What? What? Where are the men? Like, anyway, they speak a language that the strangers do not know. Well, you know what? I think I know what language it is. Do you know what I mean? Where the hell are the men? How come we're doing all the work here? This doesn't. Anyway, for the strangers came and tried to teach us their way. They scorned us just for being what we are. Yeah, sexist, I guess. I don't know what to. Maybe they were right. What are we doing? But they might as well go chasing after moonbeams or light a penny candle from a star. Now, if there's going to be a life hereafter, and somehow I am sure there's going to be, I will ask my God to let me make my heaven in that dear land across the Irish Sea. Is that heaven for those women? I don't think so. I said, you better get us the hell out of here. We're doing all the work. I could see the young men all wanting to get back to Ireland if they listen to this song. Anyway. Well, I think I want to move forward now into my decades. I left Kingsbridge 60 years ago, and in the 40s. I didn't leave in the 40s, in the 60s, I mean. But I was born in the 40s. And I call that the 40s the decade of darkness. And why do I say that, of course? Because I was here and I was a part of it. But it was right in the middle of the Second World War. It was right at the end of the Great Depression. And besides that, we had no electricity. I mean, you people on the highway, how many live on the highway? You had electricity, but we folks back there in the farms, we were coal oil lamps. We were still milking cows by hand. And, and loving it, really. But it was a period where, too, the whole community here of Kingsbridge was now just a kind of a shell of what it was in the roaring 20s, when the population here grew so quickly by 1900 to 1930, I would say. They just overpopulated the whole place. They had 50 acres of land sometimes and 10 kids. So they ran out of, obviously. And I think what got them out of here, too, was possibly Henry Ford in 1920, I believe, was paying, I don't know if this is true or not, but look it up. I'll get a fact checker out there. Anyway. But I think he was paying about $5 a day down in the factories in Detroit. And so many of them, our young lads and women, all went down there. The ones that didn't make it, the ones that weren't taken off to the priesthood or the convent, made it down there anyway to work. But there was a lot of nuns and priests as well during that time. But it was quite a time in those days there, and I think I probably should fess up to you about being honest too. No, I'll keep that for a minute. I want to talk to you still about the community here, which was a beautiful community, really. To give you an idea, too, there was more bachelors in the church than there were children in the school. See? There was, I think, when I started adding them up, there was about 30 bachelors living in the community in the 50s in my time. And there was about 20 kids in the little school next door. And they were the most beautiful people you could imagine. I hope some of you got to know them that were here, but they were just such lovely people. They would talk and sit and give time to anybody. They never were in a rush. They were always open to hear children and to teach us in their own way of what goes on. They were the caretakers of their parents' and their grandparents' community. They lived on the farms. By then, my age too, most of them were aging quite a bit in the 50s and stuff. But there was the Garveys, the Foleys, the Sullivans, I could go on and on, the Murphys, the Loughlin's, just on and on and on. These lovely people. And I feel so blessed that I had the opportunity to grow up with them. But there was, at the time too, and I think I probably should tell this story now. Probably, yeah. I left here 60 years ago, but I'm telling the story about it now. And I think you all should know this. You may not know it, whatever, but I didn't leave willingly. Did you know that? I was actually driven out of town. It's embarrassing by my own parents. Can you believe that? It's embarrassing, but that's what happened. You see, my father had 4 of us sons and my daughter, but he had a strong belief that farming was the only way of life, the best and the only way of life, and that he believed that. And when he looked at me and he watched me as I was growing up, I know in some disappointment, he says to my mother, Pat, he says, I'm afraid that boy, he says, he likes to talk far more than he likes to work. He says, he'll never make a living farming. I'm afraid we'll have to send him to school. Oh, jeez. So they drove me down to Waterloo and dropped me off and said, have a good life, son. Oh, dear. But it was a good time, and I think he knew I liked school too, by the way, because he knew I spent 7 years in high school. Now, that's a pretty good record. I must have liked school. And actually, I would have stayed another 7 years there too if it kept me out of work, you see. But they caught on to me eventually. He said, "Dan, he's 20 years old. You got to get the hell out. You got to get out of here." So I said, "Oh, so Lordy." Then I went to school for another 20 years before I had to go to work. So keep getting degrees, I guess, whatever. But anyway, it was funny then because I know. He didn't see it, I guess, but I knew what was going on because I was a conniver, just like I told you here tonight. I've connived this whole concert up so to get money out of the air. But anyway, I was using homework to get out of chores, and you see, it made sense to me because my older brothers, Mike and Terry, were twice my size. I grew up, I was a little bit of a runt, and I found that if I had homework to do, my parents would let me out of work. So I didn't have to go do the chores, to milk the cows or whatever, clean the stables. So this was my little scheme, but eventually I was 20 years old and he said, that's enough, I had to go. Down I went. But I'm going to sing this song, and I think tonight for you, let's see, I've got to keep moving here, right? This one I'd like to do before we stop, if I could, because I think it's a good place before or should we stop now? Yeah, well, maybe we could do it now. I think we could do it now before I do this one. Yeah, okay, I think so. I think we could do it now. So there's a time. Holy mackerel, the time goes by.
It's okay. It's 5 to 8. You've got another 10 minutes or so before you. So why don't you talk about the election, or not the election, the collection?
The collection. Well, I'd like to say a word about it.
You want to do that?
Yeah, I'll say that. Yeah. So.
And I'll have them all set up.
Okay. I want to talk about the plasters again. Now, and I want to get the liquor flowing here so we can get the money flowing better, you see, because this is what's going to happen. But anyway, I think I should say something about this community, because this community, in my opinion, was gone in 2012 because they closed the church, I believe. Am I right? And I was swearing, I was so upset by it, I was going to put a big sign out there on the road saying, Kingsbridge, 1840 to 2012, come and gone. But you know what happened? This community got together through their committees and through their work, and they salvaged this church, this beautiful venue. And they keep it going year after year because of you, and you're willing to contribute and keep the money coming. It doesn't just stay its own. It needs constant attention and repairs. And I'm not kidding you, I believe that plaster is about $100,000. So I'm asking you, when the plate comes around, to dig, as you would say, dig deep into your pockets there, for whatever, and then drink up after. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so Steve, oh, you're up here. Okay, good guys.
Put the lights.
You want to say anything else, Danny? Or should I?
I think I could take a break now, or are you going to go to intermission? Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to do that? Because I think it's,
All right, so we're going to have a break now?
I think so.
Okay, so should I just talk while they do this for a little bit, or do you have anything? Right after the collection, we're going to have a break, an intermission. But I do want to say, on behalf of everyone here in this community, you know, when it was 2012, and really we were left not knowing what to do, and I would like to just say that Dan was like, he was a great support to all of us, emotionally and with, you know, guiding us, and right there from the very beginning, and financially and everything. And I think there's something to be said for that, to have confidence in other people, and he certainly did in us. And that's why tonight's so special for all of us to have him here and to be singing his songs. And I don't know, you want to say anything else, Dan?
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you, Marianne. Yeah. This community stayed alive because of a dream. And the dream is so much connected to this beautiful edifice that we're sitting in here. The ones that our forefathers built in 1905. And we can enjoy it now, and I hope future generations can continue to enjoy it. But what's more important than the building is the people. And what it pulled together, there is still, and that's what I was talking about, the Kingsbridge community. It is a community. You can close the school and you can close the church, but you can't close that community.
That's right.
I think.
It is a building, but it's for the people, for all of us. So, okay, so are you going to sing one more?
I could, if you're with me. Okay.
How about one more?
Okay, this is my dad's song.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay.
And then we'll have a break.
Okay, I'll actually have to get you to help me out with it, okay? Because first of all, it's a farm that a song that it tells about how much my dad loved the farming and how it celebrates farming even. So first of all, just to get you out of your seats for a minute, with those who are actually out there that are farmers, please stand up, and I want us to give them a hand. Thank you. This is now those who live on a farm, but not actually farming, but live on a farm. Would you stand up? Anybody else? Okay. And finally, those who eat food that's grown on a farm, would you stand up? All right, thank you. So I got you off your seats for just a minute, but I think I'd still like to sing my dad's song. And I want you to do this, because it's called The Man Behind the Plow. You've often heard him sing it, I'm sure. It's a little ditty. And but when the words come out, the man behind the plow, I want us to celebrate that by clapping. Okay? So whenever you hear those words come out of my mouth, the song, I want you to clap, okay? All right. I'm not so much at singing as those highfalutin chaps. Me voice it may be husky and a little loud perhaps, for I have been a powin' with a lazy team, you see. They kept me pretty busy with my get-up, oh, gee. But if you pay attention, I have just a word to say about a great mistake you make and make it every day in dealing out your praises. And I want to tell you now, too often you forget the man who walks behind the plow. Thank you. You talk about your learned men, their wit and wisdom well. Your poets and your painters, they get praises everywhere. They're well enough to make a show, but will you tell me how the world would ever do without the man behind the plow? 'Tis very nice you go to school to learn to read and write. It's nicer still to dress up blind and sport around at night. Your music, painting, poetry may all be hard to beat, but tell me what you're going to do for something good to eat. You say, my boots are muddy and my clothing it is coarse, that I'd make a good companion for a oxen or a horse. My face is red, my hands are hard, it's true I must allow, but don't you be too quick to spurn the man behind the plow. You talk about your learned men, their wit and wisdom rare. Your poets and your painters, they get praises everywhere. They're well enough to make a show, but will you tell me how the world would ever do without the man behind the plow? I like your great inventions, and I'm glad you're getting smart. I like to hear your music, for it kinda stirs me heart. But it'll never touch the stomach of any hungry man, and so I call attention to the kind of thing that can. Then boys, don't be too anxious to leave the good old farm. Your father's strength is failing, soon he'll need your youthful arm. If you're honest in your purpose, at your feet the world must bow, for the greatest of the great one is the man behind the plow. Stand up, give him a... Wow, thank you.
So you're going to take a break now, Dan?
Yep.
You're going to take a break now?
Take a break.
Okay, everyone,
Yep.
we'll call you back in about 15 minutes.
I'm going to have my break right up here on stage here. Did it? Okay, you think?
All right.
Yeah, I just spilled a beer all over it. Have to get a... Think so?
Yeah, I'm going to take a walk about and make sure everybody's hearing okay.
Time went by very quickly there. I don't know. I have to struggle to get it all in, but anyway.
If everyone could start coming back to their seats, that would be really great. Okay, so maybe we could get the house lights down. Okay, so it'd be really great if we could have you move back to your spots. That would be great. Dan is ready to go again. And we're going to get started with our second half. So while you're getting seated, I'm going to tell you that next weekend here at the center, we have a family event again, and it's the St. Ange girls from Seaforth, and they're accompanied by their mother, Cheryl Ann, and they are phenomenal singers. They sing all different genres of music, country and pop, but they really are quite excellent, and that is August 18th at 8 p.m. Okay, it is with great pleasure I welcome Danny Ray back to the stage.
This is the seat I got from my brother Mike. On his 80th birthday, they gave him this. It's from an old Cuffler or something like that. I think it's pretty sweet, isn't it? Here's my brother Mike. Michael, thank you for this. I just no, I actually stole it from him. He doesn't know I got it. But it's good. Well, I wanted to start off with another little quick story for you. And it's about this church, too. And when I got thinking back about it, I just realized, that the first time I ever told a formal lie was in my first confession. Can you believe that? Now, I know it sounds silly, but it is true, actually. I think there's some. Well, it's part of it. It's partly blarney, but part of it's true. But anyway, what happened was we were about 7 or 8 years old, and the nuns came down from, there was the summer holidays, whatever, so the nuns came down, Sister Marie and Sister Augustus came down from London to teach us the catechism. So you had to learn all these things about sins, venial sins, mortal sins, heaven, hell, purgatory, all these kind of things, which, as 8-year-olds, oh my God, what is this all about? So anyway, and they kind of put the fear into me a little bit, and I thought, well, now I'm 8 years old, and I had to go to my first confession. So you say, Father, Son, bless you, Father, for your sin. You learn how to, you got to learn these, memorize these little lines. And so I did, but I was nervous, little fella. And I was afraid I'd forget something if I got in there. So I knew that I couldn't go in and tell them, well, I have no sins. I'm 8 years old. Cripes, you have to have some sins, lazy 8 years old, to say something. So then what would I do? And I said, they can't be a mortal sin. That wouldn't work, whatever, and nothing like that. So I made up 3 sins. And I just thought they sounded reasonable, you see, for an 8-year-old. So I told a lie to my mother. I disobeyed my father. And I stole my sister's pencil. That all sounds reasonable, you see. And I thought, oh, that would go, you see, like in terms of that. And if I remembered if I had any more sins, I'd get in there and I'd get a stage fright and I wouldn't remember them all, you see, because he just pulled the door over and you get, Father, this is my first confession, these are my sins. I got the lines out, boom, and then I had to say, what are they? So I rammed them off. And then they gave me 3 Our Fathers and 2 Hail Marys. Okay, I had to remember that too, you see. 3 Our Fathers, 2 Hail Marys. Run back out to the pew, say that's my penance. And it all worked well, but it didn't. Because every first Friday of every month, we had to go back to the church here. We were over in the school or whatever. We had to come back here and go to confession again, see. And so about a week before that, I'm getting nervous as could be. I said, no, what the hell am I going to tell him, you see? Because I've already told him those sins. I can't tell him the same one, or he'll think he's already said those sins. You can't keep doing that. So, and then who did I lie to, or who did I tell a fib to? Let me see. I disobeyed my father, or my mother, maybe. Then I'm all confused. Okay, and I told a lie to my mother. So I thought that might work. And then I stole my sister's. It wouldn't be a pencil. Eraser. I got that down cold, and I just went in there, and as long as I kept, you had to stand up in line, you see, all the way in there, and I'm repeating these sins, these are the ones I got to say, and they're all lies. I just make it up. But anyway, this went on for, I don't know, every Good Friday, and I was sweating it out every time, whenever this type of thing. And I tell you what, I don't know what happened to me. But eventually, I just got so tired of lying, I had to quit going to confession. Anyway, it was good old times. Anyway. But I want to talk to you a little bit about our neighborhood that I grew up in the 40s. And these were the Scots, the Presbyterians, the Anglicans, to the south. And, there was something about that community, because regardless of what religion was, they all seemed to work together. And I think they had a special kind of expression that I got this from Larry Wallace. It's actually Eric Drennan that told me, but what Larry said about it. Larry was a neighbor and an old bachelor. He said that it doesn't matter what church you go to on Sunday, as long as you're a damn good neighbor on Monday. And everybody pitched in, no matter what religion it was. If there was anybody needed a helping hand, they pitched in and did it. And my dad recognized that, and so did the whole community. And I'd like to sing this one song. I'm running out of time here, whatever, but sing at least this one song for our Scots neighbors. And it's called The Wee Dock and Doris. It's one of the only songs I know, but I'm going to sing it for you anyway. There's a grand old Scottish custom that has stood the test of time. It's a custom that has carried out in every land and clime. When brother Scots are gathered, they'll say the usual thing, and just before they say good night, they'll all unite and sing. Just a wee dock. Sing this with me, will you please? Just a wee dock and Doris, just a wee drop, that's all. Just a wee dock and Doris, afore we gang a war. There's a wee wifey waiting, and a wee butt and bin. If you can say it's a broad, bright moonlight night, you're all right, you can. Now I like a man that is a man that's straight and fair, the kind of man that will and can in all things do his share. I like a man, a jolly man, the kind of man the man that claps your back and says, now, just before we go, just a wee dock and Doris, just a wee dock, that's all. Just a wee dock and Doris, afore we gang a war. There's a wee wifey waiting, and a wee butt and glen. If you can say it's a broad, bright moonlight night, you're all right, you can. I'll invite you back another night to come and bring your eyes. I promise you the grandest time you'll have in all your lives. We'll play the bagpipes gaily, we'll dance the Highland fling, and just before we say good night, we'll all unite and sing. Just a wee dock and Doris, just a wee dock, that's all. Lovely. Just a wee dock and Doris, afore we gang a war. There's a wee wifey waiting, and a wee brook and glen. If you can say it's a broad, bright moonlight night, you're all right, you can. Thank you. For the Scots. Let's hear it for the Scots. I'd run out for the Scots. I got to see if I'm running out. I might be running out of time. I think I'll have to skip this over. There is a song that I would like to sing in honor of Patricia Welsh. Patricia Welsh and Peggy O'Neill came here about the end of the 40s, early 50s maybe, from County Derry in Ireland. And they set the whole town aflame. They put the lights on in Kingsbridge in a sense of a way. And I remember Patricia Welsh singing this song when she was first here in a church hall, down in the hall, and I can remember standing there and hearing her singing this song and how I'd never heard it before, and it was a beautiful song. And of course, Patricia went on to win, or at least as they would say, Robert Howard won her heart, and she went on to be married and raised 2 wonderful children here in Kingsbridge. But Peggy O'Neill was that time with her. But here's Patricia's song that I'd like to dedicate to her. The Wild Colonial Boy. That's what I had. There was a wild colonial boy, Jack Duggan was his name. He was born and raised in Ireland in a place called Castlemaine. He was his father's only son, his mother's pride and joy. And dearly did his parents love the wild colonial boy. At the early age of 16 years, he left his native home, and to Australia's sunny shore he was inclined to roam. He robbed the rich to help the poor, he shot James McAvoy. A terror to Australia was the wild colonial boy. One morning on the prairie, as Jack he rode along, listening to the mockingbird singing a cheerful song. Up stepped a band of troopers, Kelly Davis and Fitzroy. They all set out to capture him, the wild colonial boy. Surrender now, Jack Dugan, for you see we're 3-1. Surrender in the king's high name, for you're a plundering son. Jack drew 2 pistols from his belt and bravely waved them high. I'll fight but not surrender, says the wild colonial boy. He fired a shot at Kelly that brought him to the ground, and turning round to Davis, he received a mortal wound. A bullet pierced his bold young heart from the pistol of Fitzroy, and that was how they captured him, the wild colonial boy. Let's hear it for Pat Welsh. Patricia. Okay, now I'm going into a new decade, the 50s. And I call this the decade of the Dutch invasion. Okay. And hey, let's hear it from the Dutch. You know, I want to tell you, the Dutch were very clever. They were very clever. They sent in, the first families that they sent in were actually people that were quite short in stature. They were very strong and very resilient, but they weren't big, tall people. And the Irish accepted them immediately. They didn't threaten the Irish at all, so they just came in and went around whatever and did their work. But they also had a very secret kind of magic about them, and that was their laugh. And one family in particular I can remember very well growing up with, where they laugh, and their laughter would fill the room with joy, and it would create a sense of where everyone had to laugh with them. And one man in particular that I can recall worked for us as a young man, and he'd play with us children. We'd rack up the old gramophone. Do you remember those days? We'd crank it all up and play. And he'd be there in his stocking feet after the work was done that day. He's about, say, 14, years old probably at the time. And our little kids, we playing Ring Around the Rosary, that Pocket Full of Posy, and we'd play those little songs. But this man had such a laugh that it was contagious, that no one could stop. You may have heard of him. He's gone now, but his name was Peter. And he was a very special. So that whole family had that laughing joy to them. And it carried on, and it set in. I think, in fact, we got the Irish laughing again, actually, after the dark times they were in. So, and this is a song that I'm going to sing about the Dutch. But first of all, the Dutch, they regenerated the community. That's what they did. They came in, and as I say, there was a bit of a kind of a shell there. There was 20 kids in the school, as I said. And, all the young people had moved on to the cities to get educated, to work in the factories in Detroit. So they came in and kind of turned the lights on in a way, the 50s. They regenerated the energy of the Irish, and they did it through, I don't know how else to say, but through love, actually. They brought that love with them from Holland, and they shared it here. And it made it was so uplifting to the Irish and to the local community to have them come in and pitch in and help us. And there's a very special song that I'm going to sing with Marianne's help and another fellow we brought in. You may have heard of him, Johnny McDermott. And because this is a very difficult song to sing, and Johnny McDermott can do it, but Marianne is going to help me with it. It's called The Dutchman. But I think it's worth singing because it helps to tell you of the love that the Dutch brought into our Kingsbridge community. And I think it also helps us to appreciate how they shared that love with us. Okay?
So we're going to join in on the chorus. You're going to mention that John's coming here.
That's right. Johnny McDermott is coming here, in a few weeks? September 16th. And, the very famous Irish tenor that I don't know how they got him to Kingsbridge, but he loves it here too, and he comes every year.
Yeah.
So.
He's going to play for the plastering too, right?
Okay. Well, I got a little tip. Get the liquor flowing. I'll tell you that first.
Okay, Brendan,
Okay.
you on for this song back there? So we're going to listen to John at first, right?
Yeah.
The Dutchman's not the kind of man to keep his thumb jammed in the dam that holds his dreams in. But that's a secret only Margaret knows. When Amsterdam is golden, in the morning Margaret brings him breakfast. She believes him. He thinks the tulips bloom beneath the snows. He's mad as he can be, but Margaret only sees that sometimes she sees her unborn children in his eyes. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuiderzee. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me. The Dutchman still wears wooden shoes. His cap and coat are patched with love that Margaret sewed in. Sometimes he thinks he's still in Rotterdam, He watches tugboats down canals and calls out to them when he thinks he knows the captain. Till Margaret comes to take him home again, through unforgiving streets, a-tripping though she holds his arm. Sometimes he thinks that he's alone and calls her name.
Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above Zuyderzee. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me.
The windmills swirl the winter air, she winds his muffler tighter, they sit in the kitchen. And the tea with whiskey keeps away the view. He sees her for a moment, calls her name, she makes his bed up, humming some old love song. She learned that when the tune was very new, he hums a line or two, they hum together in the night. The Dutchman falls asleep and Margaret blows the candle out.
Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuyderzee. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuyderzee. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate John McDermott helping us out with that. But it's a beautiful love song, and I think it expresses the love that the Dutch brought with them and the tenderness that they brought to our community. Thank you. So the next decade is the 60s, and I call that the decade of the Kent County invasion. It was when the cash croppers came up from County Kent, down by Chatham area. And I guess I don't remember exactly, but I suspect what happened, there was huge caravans of equipment coming up 21 Highway with combines and tractors and wagons and all sorts of equipment lined up there to come into land that I suspect, I'm not sure about the facts of all this, of course, but I suspect they just kind of ran out of land down in Kent County, or they came up here too, also to possibly buy land that was less expensive. But they did come, many of them. And they had to adjust, of course, to the different climate that they would have down there. Maybe, what do you go, less, I don't know, heat units? I don't know what I'm talking about because I'm not a farmer, but I think that would be part of it. Maybe less drained land. And, maybe too, what they had to do was probably deal with different genetically programmed wheat crash croppings anyway. But they did come in and they basically changed the order of farming in Huron County, in Ashfield and Huron Township. And basically that I could see, they introduced new technology, new kind of new strategies, ways of farming, whatever. And but many of them found it hard and difficult. There's no question about it. And many of them, I believe, got discouraged and left. And the song that I'm going to sing possibly could express a little bit of that. It's a song written by Stan Rogers. And Stan Rogers was a folk singer from the East Coast, beautiful man, that he died far too young. But he wrote some beautiful songs. And this one I believe that he wrote out in the prairies, but I think it relates to the cash crop and how we make a living mostly in Ashfield and Huron County today. It's called The Field Behind the Plow. I think it'll tell that story. Watch the field behind the plow, turn to straight dark rows. Feel the trickle in your clothes, blow the dust cake from your nose. Hear the tractor's steady roar. Oh, you can't stop now. There's a quarter section more or less to go. And it figures that the rain keeps its own sweet time. You can watch it come for miles, but you guess you've got a while. So ease the throttle out a hair. Every rod's a gain. There's victory in every quarter mile. Poor old Cusick down the road, the heartache, hail, and hoppers brought him down. He gave it up and went to town. And Emmett Pierce the other day took a heart attack and died at 42. You could see it coming on, 'cause he worked as hard as you. In an hour, maybe more, you'll be wet clear through. The air is cooler now. Pull your hat brim farther down and watch the field behind the plow. Turn to straight, dark rows. Put another season's promise in the ground. And if the harvest's any good, the money might just cover all your loans. You mortgaged all you own. Buy the kids a winter coat. Take your wife back east for Christmas if you can. All summer she hangs on when you were so tied to the land. For the good times come and go, but at least there's rain. So this won't be barren ground when September comes around. So watch the field behind the plow. Turn to straight, dark rows. Put another season's promise in the ground. Watch the field behind the plow. Turn to straight, dark rows. Put another season's promise in the ground. So thank you. They didn't all fail, though, and some of them did, it's true. But some of them went on to be very successful. Very successful. And they taught us how to transition from our traditional farming customs to cash crop. And there's one man in particular that I think stands out above the rest. That man was a visionary. He loved farming. He knew how to farm, but he also knew that he needed to build elevators to store grain, to take advantage of the markets. He also knew that he had to open up new markets, sometimes internationally, which he did over many years of farming. And that man is present here tonight, and he's fighting his own battle with his health, and I'd like him to stand up, Mike Snobelin, if you're there, so we can recognize him. Thank you for coming tonight. So, I have just a couple of more songs I'd like to do before we close. 3 more, maybe. This one is an Irish song called Carrick Fergus. And it was written, I don't know, in Ireland, I suppose. Carrick Fergus is a little village, I think, somewhere off Belfast in Northern Ireland. And it's one that I like and share with you. It's a story of an older chap who's kind of at the end of his days, not unlike myself, possibly. Kind of, how am I doing 80 years old up here doing this? Anyway, I'd like to sing it for you. I wish I was in Carrickfergus, only for nights in Ballygrand. I would swim over the deepest ocean my love to find. But the sea is wide, and I cannot swim over, and neither have I the wings to fly. If I could find me a handsome boatman to ferry me over, my love and I. My childhood days bring back sad reflections of happy times spent so long ago. My boyhood friends and my own relations have all passed on now like melting snow. But I'll spend my days in endless roaming. Soft is the grass, my bed is free. Ought to be back now in Carrickfergus, on that long road down to the salty sea. 'Twas in Kilkenny, it is recorded, on marble stones there as black as ink. With gold and silver I did support her, but I'll sing no more now till I get a drink. For I'm drunk today, and I'm seldom sober, a handsome rover from town to town. Ah, but I'm sick now, and my days are numbered. So come, all ye young men, and lay me down. Thank you. I'll drink to that. Wow, we're getting there. This song here is one that my favorites, and I kind of appreciate coming up here. I stay at the rectory, and it gives me time to walk back to the cemetery. And of course, I go back to my family's graves. But at my parents' grave is a special time for me. My dad and mother there, and I kneel, and I say a few prayers. But I look up above me, and I can kind of, in the image, see my father and my mother together, arm in arm. And my father, I can hear it in my heart, singing this song to me. It's called Danny Boy, and I sing it tonight. Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the roses falling. It's you must go and I must bide. But come ye back when summer's in the meadow, or when the valley's hushed and white with snow. I'll be there in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, I love you so. And when ye come and all the flowers are dying, and I am dead, as dead I well may be, you'll come and find the place where I am lying, and kneel and say an Ave there for me. And I shall hear those soft you trod above me, and oh, my grave will warmer, sweeter be, and you will bid and tell me that you love me. And I shall sleep in peace until you come to me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're bringing tears to my eyes. Thank you very much. And the last song of tonight is the one that the Clancy brothers sang at the closing. Do you want to?
Yeah. You sing like that one, I think so.
This is it?
Well, do you want, is that what you're hoping?
Yeah. This, my final song.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think everybody, you've done really well. That's
okay.
awesome.
They're going to let me out of here soon, I hope. I hope that bar is open when they finish here. That's all I can say. But anyway,
I'll just mention that.
do you want to say something?
Steve, the bar is going to stay open for a little bit after, okay? Just to let you know. Okay, Dan?
Okay,
So you're going to have to do one more song.
this is my final.
This is the final song.
It's called The Parting Glass. Liam Clancy used to sing it. For all the money that e'er I've had, I spent it in good company. For all the harm that I have had, alas, it was to none but me. For all I've done for want of wit, to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me a parting glass, good night and joy be to you all. So fill to me a parting glass and drink to health whate'er befalls. Then gently rise and softly call, good night and joy be to you all. Of all the comrades that e'er I've had, they are sorry for my going away. For all the sweethearts that e'er I've had, they'd wish me one more day to stay. But since it fell unto my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and softly call, good night and joy be to you all. So fill to me a parting glass and drink to health whate'er befalls. Then gently rise and softly call, good night and joy be to you all. Good night and joy be to you all. Thank you. Good night.
Let's hear it again for Danny Ray Dalton.
Thank you. Thank you.
Look at that.
I love Kingsbridge. Thank you. God, good night and God bless. I love you all.
All right, Dan, you'll go out and eat with them now.
I can go down.
He's going to come out, so
Yeah.
we'll get the house lights on. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. You know what? What a wonderful way to celebrate your 80th year, right? Hey.
Anytime I ever hear it, I think of those two.
I see Donna.
There's Ann and Terry coming.
Oh, hey, Ann.
Dan,
Thanks
just,
for coming.
just
Thanks for coming.
great, just great. There's only one thing, Dan. You forgot the Germans.
Oh, yeah.
I said that I was going to say that.
I gotta do that, but I have to have a German song. I guess I could have done something. Yeah, Irene and all these stuff.
Yeah, that was good, though, real good.
Yeah.
That was quite an undertaking to do that.
Yeah, that was a lot, but I enjoyed it. Here, look who's here. You came. I love it. How are you? Thank you for coming. I gotta meet the rest of the family.
You know what, Rob, you've got lots of people to meet, so we'll see you again.
Very good. Okay, here, two brothers. Yeah. He's a singer. I was just up there. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Donna. Oh, you too.
You're in good shape, too.
Oh, thank you, Donna. Thank you.
yeah.
Donna, it's special for me for you to be here.
I see Joni.
Lots of good days to remember.
Yeah, we do too. Yeah, I thought I would get security every day. I love you.
I'm fine. How are you doing?
Great, thanks. Good to see you. It really was. I have something for you. I think I can take it out. It's your dad's
eulogy.
Really?
Yeah, I found it. I'll have to write it up, but remember your dad?
Yep. Yeah, well, that was a long time ago.
I know, but I have it. I'd like to share it.
It'd be 100 now.
Yeah.
And I rode on the school bus with you. Barb McKenzie.
No, Barb. Of course, I recognize you now, Barb. I'll be darned. No, what happened to it, Barb?
We're just getting younger and younger every day.
Good to see you.
It's nice to see you too, and I enjoyed
And your brothers, are they?
all gone. There were 7 in your families, only Jim and I left.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Who am I? Neil?
Jim was.
Jim?
Hi, I'm Sharon.
Oh, of course, Sharon. Love you, Sharon. How are you? Of course. Thank you. Are you coming down to the reunion? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we miss your mom. We miss your mom a lot.
Yeah. And Don Murray's come up.
What? He's here?
Yeah, he was sitting with me.
Oh, this is wonderful.
Yeah,
Don
it is.
Murray coming. That's great. Hello. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah, good to see you.
I'm gonna need the keys to that Porsche again.
You came, yeah. Do you know where the Porsche is? It's out in Vancouver. I had to fly home because I'm heading down. We're going to Ireland for a month, and I'm flying back. Then I'm going to head south. But I'll get it back up to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're going to be at the reunion. Okay, yeah, good. Thanks. What was it? Yeah. Not too much Blarney in there. Is it?
It was cute. You remind me of your dad.
Yeah.
You do.
Arlene. Hey. Everybody's here. Look at that. Good
How
to
you
see
doing?
Patricia. Very good. Thanks
Great
so much.
job.
Thanks for coming. I thought when they announced me that nobody show up. Yeah.
You betcha. Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
I wouldn't have missed it for the world.
Well, you're coming to the reunion tomorrow. The reunion. You didn't get that invitation, right? I thought I had your email. Did you get it? Fine. Oh, good.
She wouldn't miss it.
Right there.
Bye.
How are you?
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yay.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. You made it work for me. Hey, good to see you. Wow, thanks so much for coming up here.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll see you something more. But
Yeah, good to see you, Michael.
Oh,
You got the right color on there. Way
yeah,
to
I
go.
do. Yes.
Yeah.
Get dressed up.
Yeah. No, you and I are doing it. We're hanging in there, Michael. Good for you.
I'm trying to,
Yeah,
yeah.
you look good. Yeah. Wow, it's so
That's a
good.
great deal. That was a beautiful thing you did there.
Was it? Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Loved it.
Thank you.
And if you were nervous, you shouldn't have been.
Yeah. Well, this kept me going. I guess.
Yes. I had some. Yeah. I don't think it was too nervous.
No, that's fine.
Nobody forced him to do this. No.
No, I wanted to do it, I think. I turned 80 to do something stupid.
Guess. Guess.
Jess?
Guess.
I guess. I got to guess. Doggone it. I should know now, but I... Huh?
How about if I say you're
You're not Don. You're not Don.
Yay!
No,
Don
kidding.
Murray.
Donnie Murray. I'll be down, Donnie. Good. Oh, good to see you. Wow.
to see
now
you.
I recognize that beard was throwing me off. Yeah.
Don't worry, it throws a lot of people.
Yeah. Good to see you, Donnie. How did you up for a bit then?
I came up for this.
For the reunion too?
Yeah.
So way to go.
Brian gave you my name, put on the mailing list,
Good.
and you sent that mailing list out, and I looked at the dates, and I went, this son of a bitch,
Wow,
my
wait.
birthday and Cleet's birthday,
Yeah.
I gotta go.
Yeah. Wow. Way to go. So where are you now living in?
In northwestern Michigan. Where? A little place called Luther. I don't know. Yeah,
Northwest. I was up there with Kathy Sullivan, one of our relatives there. Just we went up. We went. Visit. Yeah, we went to Clinton or Flint. I mean, of course, and then we went up. But you're western. We drove up the eastern coast.
Oh, okay.
So this side over there. But no,
I'm on the Lake Michigan
you're on
side.
the Lake Michigan side. Well, that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Oh, we love it there. Yeah, we went up and had a meal at the Grand Hotel.
What
Yeah.
did this? It's a blast.
Oh, that crazy place! $100 to have a lunch. To have a lunch at at that big. You remember the big hotel up in Mackinac?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But we did it once. What the hell you did?
Born and raised in Michigan. I've never been there.
No, not like.
You're supposed to.
Oh.
It's a tribute.
Yeah. So are you living near the water? Or?
No, live on a farm.
Farm? Where's
Yeah, still a
Donnie?
farmer.
You
Yeah,
do? You
yeah.
do? Good for you.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just got 40 acres.
Oh.
And it's mostly timber.
Yeah, that's
I
just,
don't
we
really
live
farm.
on 50 acres farm out just out of Elora here. Or not here, but that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marilyn and I have 52 acres. Trees, mostly trees. Yeah, there he is. Hey, Dick, thanks for coming.
That's all the dog Brian saw. What's
I know.
I'm on
I had to do these old timers. Hey, Brian, thank you, Brian. Thank you.
heard you better. No shit.
Is that right?
No shit.
Oh, it's all the sound system. That was all fake.
you did great.
I never sang one song. The sound system did it all.
You had the audience with you.
Did I?
You did, yeah. You commanded the stage.
Did I?
Yeah, you did. For a one-man show, that's very
Yeah,
hard.
but for a cappella.
Yeah, very hard to do.
Yeah, McCormick couldn't do it.
No.
Next year you're doing part 2.
Okay, you want to do it? Okay. Yeah. Is that right?
Well done.
What's that?
Respirator,
Oh yeah, that was a surprise to me. She had to fly in from Australia to fly.
You're on for that first.
Yeah, 9 o'clock. Okay. No, wouldn't miss it. It's nice to see you come here. Yeah. Hi there. Hey there, I want to give you a hug too. Okay. Oh, thank you, dear. I didn't embarrass you too much.
Stars.
Well, you know what saved me? The sound system.
It was wonderful.
Thank you. It means a lot to me to you guys.
It was magical.
Was it?
The ancestors were here. Tonight at the
Well, we'll get the sun song going before
we
then.
won't be
then.
at the campfire, but we'll be there.
No, but you can sing there. We got
plenty of time.
Yeah, no, I want to hear the Max and the Old.
In fact,
The Max and
I
the
got
Old.
a plan to try to get some people to learn.
What was the
Tom Helms.
think of your grandfather's concert?
A lot of our gang are
Sideways?
Sideways.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
it's kind of nice to review the old history of songs that we grew up with.
I started there. That was lovely. Yeah. Of all those families came up with him.
He deserves it.
We're on TV here. We're on TV.
Oh, hey there.
That was an awesome performance. You did good. If I can do that good when I'm 80, I'll be happy.
Hello. Here, why don't you get this? Come here, Biffy. My niece. Whoop, sorry.
It's all right. Everybody's been doing it all night.
My niece.
Shalacha.
We've heard it before. No, that's rude of me to say. It was great. It's a dream come true for him, I think, and it's just something he wanted to do for so long, you know.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it, John?
It was amazing.
It was amazing.
I'm impressed.
Mary Ann brought in the special sound system. I think that helped him a lot.
Yeah.
Just like sitting around in the olden days in a circle of chairs or something and visiting.